Drugs and alcohol have been a problem in our society for generations. Everybody's had a problem with them, everybody knows someone who's had a problem with them, and everybody seems to have a story about them. So we're out today in Coalville at Hermitage FM to talk to someone who's made a film about their experiences. So let's go and have a chat.
Albert was somebody who well, took a lot of drink and drugs. He was a bit of a lost soul, really. Albert was like the street name, the false persona. The film talks a little bit about how the name Albert came about, but it did become a street name or my nickname. And years later, in rehab, when it all kind of came too much and came to a head, one of the therapists in the clinic asked me to write a letter to the addict within saying goodbye, and normally the letter starts, "Dear addict," but when I wrote my letter, you kind of go back to read it out to the group, and at that point I realised mine said, "Dear Albert," and it was a bit of a kind of moment for me therapeutically, really, because from that point on I began to kind of understand what was really going on for me and what had been going on for Albert, and that was the beginning of the healing process, really. And up until that point, kind of I'd been hiding behind someone who I wasn't really. You know, the life of someone in active addiction, if you like, is full of lies, it's full of deceit, it's a very dark, lonely, threatening, kind of nasty place. And it was about coming out of that darkness and, as the film talks about, really, into the light and starting to live without the use of drink and drugs, without the use of mind-altering substances, and just trying really on a day-to-day basis to be the person I really want to be, and to fulfil those roles that a lot of people just kind of seem to do naturally. But you know, to be a father to Joe and Harry, to be a husband to Sally, my wife, to be a son to my parents, and to kind of engage meaningfully in the local community and the wider society, and live a life without taking drugs. And the film is often described as a very hopeful film. That surprises me a bit sometimes, because you know, sadly it does capture overdose and death, so it does capture some of the kind of painful raw realities of using. But I don't think Dear Albert, the film, is about using. It's about how we move on from using, and how everybody has another chance. You know, recovery is about offering people another opportunity to, I think it was Carl Jung that said, sort of growth isn't necessarily resolving old problems, it's having an appreciation or an understanding that there's always new challenges ahead, and it's about turning more outwards and looking further away and into the horizon, and sort of dealing with things as they come up, and not being tied to the difficulties or the problems of our past, you know, to move beyond that, to transcend some of the things we've become very lost in and self-obsessed with, and to grow as people and to reach out and to reconnect. And hopefully people will see the film and get a positive message that, you know, we do recover, we do get well, people can move on from drink and drugs. A leopard can literally change its spots, and it's good. And I hope people enjoy the film and get something from it, and that this whole narrative of, in my case, Albert, but you know, everyone's got a story, and I think as soon as people start telling their story, they start getting well, and often that as well can be the beginning of a process. And some of the people we work with, you know, their healing starts when they start telling their own story, and we try and provide a safe place for that to happen. The film is available online. I don't think it's very much, just a couple of quid. You can download it from Amazon, I think it is. Ideally, if you want to sort of have an audience with Dear Albert or some of the characters that are represented in the documentary, if you give us a call, we can come and put the film on for you. We can put a showing on. You can meet, as I say, some of the characters. We've got a bit of a workshop on some of the themes around reinventing self, failure as a creative force, how people in longer term recovery can work in people just coming into, sort of people in new recovery. So you can go onto the Dear Albert website, www.dearalbert.co.uk, and there's a bit more information about us as an organisation and how we help other people, locally and nationally now, actually, how we help people recover from drink and drug abuse. So like us on Facebook, check us out on our website, or yeah, download or buy the DVD on Amazon.
Drugs was a big part of my life from about when I was 13, you know what I mean? So obviously the two don't mix, but I carried on with the drugs, trying stronger and stronger and stronger. Then I had a drink. First drink I didn't really like because it gave me an headache next morning.
Oh, there will be traffic.
I had 2 kids, I was looking after my 2 sons at the time. I lost custody of them, like, through obviously drinking drugs. And well, I've gone back in my life now. We're on good terms now. We talk to each other. I talk to most of the kids now.
Where's it taking us? What's it doing to us? We don't know. We're going to find out.
You know, Albert was someone that used drugs. Albert was someone who didn't give a toss. And in the end, Albert was just lying all the time.
It's John.
Who's that?
It's Albert. It's all right. It's Albert.
Oh, yeah, hey, John. I don't know where the fucking name Albert come from anyway. You were supposed to be John Roberts, weren't you?
That's right, and I've come back to John Roberts. Well, Albert was just a street name.
And I grew to resent Albert and actually hate Albert. Although I'm getting towards the end of a particular journey of actually kind of reaching back out to him and understanding who he was and what was going on for him. Because you know what, at work, I see lots of Alberts. I see lots of Alberts every day. This wasn't my deathbed, but it could have been. You know, it might have been. I feel as if I've, you know, looked death in the face last week.
I was just in bits, and I just said, "Help me." I said, "I can't stop." I couldn't stop. That was it.
You just think you're never going to get to the top. And that's a familiar feeling. You know, people in active addiction think they're never going to get through the day without having to use. But with the right kind of effort, support, with the right team and planning, you start moving up that mountain. That starts to feel good. You know what? Maybe I can do it. That's a real good feeling. It's not drug induced. It's not come from some kind of chemical or some kind of drink or compound. It's come from work. It's come from effort. It's come from action. You know, if you put the action in, I'm a very firm believer you will get the results. We don't always believe that in early recovery, and part of my job is getting someone to believe that.